Hello, welcome to Emboldened with Jessica. Today we have a very special guest, Lisa Holmes. Lisa, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, well, today we're going to be getting into some things, okay? And we're going to be talking about being that girl. And just to kind of go over a definition of what is that girl? What does that mean? When we think about that girl, we're thinking about someone who is confident, who has style, humor, someone who takes up space, someone who is unapologetically themselves. What do you think of when you think of someone who's that girl?
Honestly, I always think that you are that girl. I've always thought that that's who you were. I always wanted to do all of those things. As I've gotten older, I definitely have accepted that and embraced it, and it has been wonderful.
Embrace that you are that girl?
That I am that girl.
Yes, because you are.
I get it now.
Uh-huh. And so part of being that girl also includes knowing your worth, catching up to how the world is already viewing you, the way your friends, your loved ones are viewing you, and really standing in that power. And so, Lisa, you came to mind because there was, we were all hanging out, having drinks, okay, as one does. And we were talking about what was going on for you, and you said that something occurred as you were dating where you realized, wow, I am that girl. Can you tell us about what happened?
Yes. So what I realized was when I look at my life and my accomplishments, I would want to date me. I would want to be with me. Mm-hmm. I would not want to let me go. Mm-hmm. So in this particular instance, I was dating this guy who was younger. And I was like, man, when I was his age, if I had met a 40-year-old who had his stuff together, mm-hmm. you couldn't tell me nothing. So it never occurred to me that the tables could flip and that somebody could feel that same way about me. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally said, oh, well, that's what this is, then I was able to navigate it a lot better mm-hmm. because now I can stand in what I now know is true and we both know is true. So I was able to say, hey, I get it. But at this age and stage, I'm overgrowing people. Yeah. I want us to grow together.
Ooh, I know that's right. You know, the other thing that you practice that I think is a really beautiful practice is you've now developed this way when there's a celebration for you that you will ask people to do a speech about you as a way for you to kind of really know and not wait to receive your flowers, to really know, what are you thinking about me? What inspired you to start that practice?
Okay, so a lot of people are dying, as we know, and I just really have been in spaces and places where I've had the opportunity to be celebrated on a regular basis, and I love how that feels. So I have made it, my therapist also made it, a point to express gratitude whenever I can.
Yeah.
So I am constantly pouring into people, and it really, really has changed the course and trajectory of my life. And it just really humbles and stops people to say, what do I appreciate about that person? Because I have moments in my life where I start to think about how grateful I am for people. Mm-hmm. And now I'm not waiting. I'm texting them. Mm-hmm. I'm finding them at work. Mm-hmm. I'm going over to their house and saying, hey, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you. And the way that just changes people's demeanor is really powerful.
Yes.
And that is what I want people to live in, because we can live in all the other spaces. But I want people to be encouraged, and I want them to live in its positive spaces and places. And I want to help be a part of that. So for my birthdays, I ask for speeches.
Yeah.
People have been very adverse to giving them. But that's my thing. I want everybody to know that they're that person, that woman, that man, whatever. I want you to know that you're that person. I don't want you to feel like me who had to guess for years. I always heard it in the rumblings, but I didn't believe it. Mm-hmm. So I want to be that rumbling that gets so loud that you have to hear it.
You have to face it. Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I just think that's a beautiful practice, and it speaks to part of what you really enjoy is for everyone to hear it, for it to be a collective sharing. Yeah. And you're not shrinking oh, you just can do this in a card. like, or you can just do this on the side. Like you really want a celebration.
Yeah.
And I think also as women that are not married, a lot of times we don't get a lot of celebrations,
Yes.
right? And so it looks different. And so making sure we're honoring people's needs. So you're talking a little bit about catching up into how the world sees you. And I think this is something that is really common for a lot of people, where a lot of other people are speaking life into them or they're telling them positive things and they think that that person is maybe lying or trying to flatter them. How do you know the difference? How do you know if someone's just blowing smoke up your behind or if it's really genuine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you tell the difference?
Honestly, it depends on who it's coming from, right? I've come to learn that there are just truly toxic people who don't mean what they say. And those don't feel very good. Like, even if it's like the best compliment you received your entire life, they don't feel the same. And you really can feel that.
Yes. So honoring and listening to your body in terms of, does it feel like this aligns? Like, does this feel like it's true for, or does it feel kind of squirmy? Like, are they trying to get something from me?
Yeah.
And also, am I hearing these compliments from other people? If I'm hearing compliments from different people in different settings and it's the same thing, then I can probably trust that this is who I am. There's this thing called the Strength Finder, and you can pay to go online or to buy the book and learn about different strengths. But there's another tool that I prefer. It's free. It's called High Five, HIGH, and then the number 5. And it allows you to also search for your strengths. But what I really like about it is that you can also send them out to people that you know, and they can do it based off of what they find your strengths to be. So now, again, a way for you to compare. I think my strengths are this. My best friend is telling me this. My sibling is telling me this. And so it also kind of gives you something to work with about, man, okay, this is an area of strength for me. So, when did you know you were that girl?
Yeah, it took me some time. It's really just been the last couple of years where I've owned it. Before, I think that I felt like it was fleeting. I never really understood that it's always there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much I use it, it's always going to be there. Yesterday, I got a free car wash.
Oh, you did? Because you're charming. Okay, I got Riz.
Yes. And so these are the things I've come to learn about myself is like literally it takes talking to people, which is something you know I was adverse to for years. I was very shy, very introverted.
Which is so wild to think about.
Yeah, like my profession has made me step out of that and made me step up in places. But like I said, it's something that I finally realized is here to stay. And now I'm nurturing it to make sure that it's something I always have.
Yes. How are you moving through life now that you're aware that you're that girl?
Like, I'm really just trying to enhance myself. Like, I like to make sure that I look a certain way.
You always look amazing. I mean, model ready. You're always just stunning.
It's not shy. Yeah. It wasn't always like that.
Really?
Oh, it wasn't always like that. Like, it didn't, at times I didn't really care how I looked.
Maybe like when you were younger, high school, middle school. Yes. Yeah.
As an adult, I really like found my style, really figured out what I wanted to do with my face and my hair.
Yeah.
And it works.
Do you think some of that in high school and middle school was A, related to maybe some confidence, but B, also we had less resources? Okay, we were on that struggle bus.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you have more, you can do a little more with what you got. What would you say to the old you, Lisa?
I would say continue to surround yourself with people who celebrate you. Not everybody's for you.
I know that's right.
And you're not for everybody.
Ooh.
That was big. Because I think that,
Lisa, let's talk about that. Because I feel like there were some people that you were trying to drag into your elevation, into your growth. They just weren't where you were.
Right.
And they were wearing you down.
Yes.
And you know me, I'm quick to cut up.
Quick to let them.
Okay. So, what has shifted in that for you?
People are dying. Like, I mean, honestly, like,
really?
it's just a space where I realized that I can't keep doing this, it literally is hurting my soul.
Yeah.
I realized that those people were not serving me, and I was doing a disservice to myself by keeping them around. And it really was hurting. Like, it was hurting me to my core. Like, I remember coming here and just complaining and complaining and complaining. I don't like that. Like, I mean, there's one thing like Kiki were talking about. Complaining for hours about the same thing.
That's what you noticed where you were like, this needs to shift. It's bringing me down, even when I'm not around these people.
I'm still thinking about all the horrible things, all the different things. And like, there was no joy anymore. And when you can reflect back and remember the joy you used to have with people and it's gone, it's over.
I think that's critical, right? To be aware that there are people who make us feel lighter and they're fun. And it doesn't mean that there's not hard moments with them, or maybe they're navigating some difficult things and we hold space for them. But also knowing that there are people who just always feel down. Like, they're just always complaining. Like, they act like life is only happening to them in a terrible way. And we pick up on energy. I mean, that's just in our nature. And so what we're around is what we become. And so there does get to be a point where we have to choose ourselves. We got to put me first. What do you do when you don't feel like you're that girl? How do you build up your self-esteem? We talked about utilizing that tool of the high five, but what are some other tools that you might recommend, Lisa?
So I'm in therapy. That has definitely helped to shift how I think about life and situation. Through that, I've learned, like I said, to really look for those moments of gratitude and to constantly every day try to center myself in that. And that really helps me get through.
How do you center yourself in that?
So like in the morning, I'll think about things that I'm grateful for. Here's the other piece to it. If, like, honestly, like, there are people that I'll be like, man, I'm just so grateful for that person. And I will either text them or, like, if it's a person at work, I'll literally walk up and be like, I just want to let you know that I'm just so grateful for you, and give them an example of a time that whatever I was thinking. And that has really shifted when I'm having a bad day or I don't feel like that person, to express gratitude to others has really been a big energy thing for me.
For sure.
And I've really enjoyed that. I want to be better at doing it with not just colleagues, but family. That, because I do really think I take them for granted.
You have an amazing family.
I know.
And you've had an amazing family for a while. So I'm hearing that one of the ways you're really good at showing people you're appreciative of them is with colleagues and with your friends. But a growth edge for you would be to be able to speak more of that life back into your family.
Because they do a lot.
They do. You all do a lot for each other.
When I really think about it, like, our village is strong. And in order to keep that village strong, like, I need to start pouring back into it as it's pouring into me.
Okay. Yeah, so I love that. Gratitude is one of the things that's been proven to be really effective into shifting our energy, to boosting our self-esteem, but also really helping when we're feeling kind of depressed and overwhelmed. And so there are people who might reach out to me with gratitude by email or at the end of a session, or they might message me on social media. And I usually save those things. And then when I'm having a really rough day, then I can kind of pull from that and ask as a reminder, as like a motivation to keep going. Another tool that we love are affirmations and affirmations. So an affirmation is when we say, I'm strong, I'm powerful. An affirmation is a flip on that. Some people feel like affirmations feel false, or that it just doesn't resonate with them. Like, it's hard for them to believe. Kind of as Lisa shared, it was hard for her to believe, even though people were telling her she's awesome. It was hard for her to really receive that. So an affirmation is a flip on that. And it utilizes a couple of tools that our brain naturally does, where if we're thinking about something not being true, then our brain wants to kind of make it true. Our brain starts to question it. So an affirmation would be, what if I can get through this? What if I'm powerful? And then we start to think about the ways that we're powerful. We start to think about the ways we can get through something. How did I know that I was that girl? I knew I was that girl because I had to love on myself. And I came from a home where I didn't really receive that from parental figures. I mean, I had a lot of love pushed on me by my siblings and other people, like friends and people that were in the community. But like, I knew I had to do that for myself. And so, yeah, and I had access to mirrors, and I could see how brilliant I was, you know? So I did have a lot of people who poured love into me, and that certainly helped. And then just not playing about myself. So yeah, I was like, I very clearly could see how I'm in a room full of people who are different than I am, and I bring value to this space. Like, they're fortunate to have me in here. And that's one of the things that I share with people all the time, is that most of us are elevating each room that we're entering. And for us to kind of really center that and live in that, I know some people kind of think like, do I belong in this room? Or they start to compare themselves with others. But instead of me comparing myself with others, I don't need to do that. If anything, I can be inspired. If someone is doing something really awesome and incredible, I can be like, wow, that's so cool. Like, that's inspiring. But I feel like there's enough for everyone. And we all have such different talents and strengths that my mind doesn't go there. But it definitely goes to, girl, did you just see yourself in that mirror? Girl. You know, it definitely goes to that. And so just pouring a lot of love in to me has helped me to recognize I'm that girl. And then also having people who are doing what Lisa's talking about, where they're like, hey, I see this in you. I'm really appreciative of this today. And then that just kind of really filling me in a way that I am forever grateful for. So on that note, Lisa, thank you for joining us. We love you being here. You are a fan favorite, and people are often trying to guess who Lisa Holmes is. If you know, you know. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Emboldened with Jessica. If you're not already, like and follow us on whatever platform you listen to your podcast on so that you're able to get our updates. Also, be sure to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram at Emboldened with Jessica. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right, bye. Thanks for having me.